Have you ever wondered how a seemingly ordinary life can descend into unimaginable darkness? The story of Heath Stocks is a chilling reminder of the insidious nature of manipulation and the devastating consequences it can unleash. Lonoke, Arkansas, once stood as a beacon of traditional American values. Its close-knit community thrived on faith, sports, and the principles of the Boy Scouts. The town prided itself on its moral compass, a guiding light for its residents. But beneath the surface of this idyllic setting, a sinister plot was brewing, one that would shatter the town's tranquility forever. The Boy Scouts, with their emphasis on respect, honor, and obedience, held a special place in Lonoke's heart. Young boys like Heath Stocks aspired to embody these virtues, seeking guidance and mentorship within the organization. Little did they know that the very institution they revered could harbor a darkness that would forever alter their lives. Enter Charles Jack Walls III, a charismatic and influential figure in Lonoke. He was everything a young boy could admire: a respected father, a devout Christian, and a pillar of the community. Wall's family wealth and his father's position as a local judge further amplified his allure. He seemed to possess a magic touch, capable of molding young boys into upstanding citizens. Everybody wanted to be one of Jack's boys, Heath Stocks would later recount. Walls offered a sense of belonging, a promise of guidance that resonated deeply with impressionable young minds. He saw potential in boys that their own fathers couldn't see, or so he claimed. But this molding came at a terrible price, a price paid in innocence, trust, and ultimately, blood. Wall's influence extended beyond the Boy Scout meetings. He became a confidant, a trusted advisor to both the boys and their parents. He skillfully inserted himself into their family dynamics, offering advice and support, often subtly undermining the authority of the parents. This allowed him to cultivate a sense of dependency, making the boys increasingly reliant on his approval. Behind the scenes, Walls began to sow seeds of discord between Heath Stocks and his father, Joe. Joe Stocks was a stern and distant figure, often resorting to physical discipline. Walls exploited this vulnerability, positioning himself as the caring father figure that Heath craved. He offered a sympathetic ear, a shoulder to cry on, further entrenching himself in Heath's life. As Heath grew older, Walls's influence became more insidious. He demanded unwavering loyalty, manipulating Heath into seeking his approval for every decision. Heath's mother, Barbara, discovered Walls's abuse and insisted Heath file charges. But Walls's power and influence within the community ensured that the charges disappeared. The breaking point came when Barbara Stocks walked in on Walls and Heath together. She didn't blame her son, but sought guidance from her pastor. Heath confessed to his mother and sister, Heather, about the abuse he had endured. This revelation sent Walls into a frenzy. He demanded that Heath eliminate the problem, his own family. After years of manipulation and indoctrination, Heath Stocks was a broken man, a puppet dancing to Wall's tune. He had been conditioned to believe that Walls's protection was paramount, that his every command was to be obeyed without question. On January 17, 1997, Heath Stocks committed an unspeakable act. He went to his family home armed with a .45 caliber handgun. His sister Heather walked in, followed by his mother Barbara and then his father Joe. In a matter of seconds, their lives were extinguished. Heath had killed the problem, as ordered. His entire family lay dead, victims of a twisted and depraved mind. Heath Stocks fled the scene, disposing of the murder weapon in a nearby river. He sought refuge at the apartment of a college friend, where he was apprehended by the police the next morning. He was charged with 3 counts of capital murder. During the investigation, Heath revealed the extent of Wall's manipulation and abuse. Despite the overwhelming evidence pointing to Wall's involvement, he was never brought to justice. Heath Stocks pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences. There was no trial, no presentation of evidence, no defense. Wall's influence and power had once again shielded him from accountability. The tragedy of Heath Stocks cast a long shadow over Lonoke, Arkansas. It exposed the dark underbelly of a community that prided itself on its moral values. It revealed the devastating consequences of unchecked power and the insidious nature of manipulation. The story serves as a chilling reminder of the importance of vigilance, accountability, and the protection of vulnerable individuals. Even though Walls was never brought to justice for his crimes against the Stocks family, an investigation was eventually launched against him. The wheels of justice turn slowly, but they do turn. The story of Heath Stocks is a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of abuse and manipulation. We must remain vigilant in protecting vulnerable individuals and holding perpetrators accountable for their actions. If you or someone you know has been affected by abuse, please reach out for help. There are resources available to provide support and guidance. Together, we can break the cycle of abuse and create a safer world for everyone. Walls cultivated relationships, preying on the innocence and trust of his victims, weaving a web of deceit that would eventually lead to unimaginable horror. Wall's influence extended beyond the Boy Scouts, permeating the lives of those closest to him. His nephew by marriage, Knox, was drawn into the Boy Scouts by Wall's charisma, seeking his guidance and approval. This seemingly innocent connection would prove to be a fatal entanglement, as Knox, like so many others, fell victim to Wall's insidious manipulation. The parallels between young Stocks and Knox are haunting. Both boys faced personal difficulties, vulnerabilities that Walls seized upon, exploiting their weaknesses like a parasite. Knox's mother, Karen, recognized the profound impact Walls had on her son, noting how he encouraged Knox's involvement in the Boy Scouts, creating an environment where abuse could thrive. Wade, another victim, struggled with attention deficit disorder, dyslexia, and behavioral issues. These challenges made him particularly susceptible to Wall's influence. Wade's mother witnessed his struggles firsthand, the constant turmoil and his inability to respect authority. Walls would step in, seemingly offering support, but in reality, tightening his grip on the vulnerable young boy. Knox's tragic story took a devastating turn when, traumatized by years of abuse, he confronted Walls. In a moment of desperate courage, Knox forced Walls to confess his crimes, including the abuse of Heath Stocks and Knox's own brother. This confession, born of unimaginable pain, exposed the depth of Walls' depravity. The weight of his trauma became unbearable, leading Knox to take his own life. His family, shattered by grief and outrage, established the Wade Knox Children's Advocacy Center. a testament to their determination to prevent other families from enduring similar suffering. Knox's suicide serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of abuse and the urgent need for support and intervention. The case of the Stocks family murders raises troubling questions about the investigation and the justice system. Many believe that Stocks did not act alone and that the trial was mishandled. The influence Walls wielded over the town may have hindered a thorough investigation, allowing him to evade full accountability for his actions. Even the special prosecutor, Betty Dickey, acknowledged the pervasive influence Walls had over the community. The victims' families were initially hesitant to press charges, a testament to the fear and intimidation Walls instilled in those around him. It was only after the full extent of Walls' abuse was revealed that they found the courage to seek justice. Walls was eventually charged with multiple counts of sexual assault, pleading no contest to the abuse of Heath Stocks. He now spends his days in prison, serving a life sentence with an additional 40 years. While this may seem like justice served, it does little to alleviate the pain and suffering he inflicted on his victims and their families. Betty Dickey revealed the shocking scope of Walls' abuse, estimating that he may have molested 50 to 100 young boys over a period of 20 to 30 years. The statute of limitations prevented many of these cases from being prosecuted, leaving countless victims without recourse. This highlights the need for stronger laws and greater awareness to protect vulnerable children from abuse. In a surprising turn, Heath Stocks, in an interview with Fox 16, stated that he had forgiven Walls. He explained that this forgiveness was primarily for his own mental health, allowing him to move forward with his life. However, he also acknowledged that Walls was responsible for warping his mind, leading him to commit the unspeakable act of killing his parents. Stocks also placed blame on his parents for insisting on keeping him in the Boy Scouts, despite his appeals. This highlights the complex dynamics of abuse and the importance of listening to children when they express concerns or discomfort. Stocks remains incarcerated, a victim of circumstance and the devastating consequences of unchecked abuse. The Walls case is a chilling reminder of the devastating impact of abuse and the importance of holding perpetrators accountable. If Walls had not preyed on the innocence of so many young boys, countless lives would have been spared. Wade Knox would still be alive, and the Stocks family would not have been torn apart by tragedy. The question remains, should Heath Stocks be released from prison? Has he been rehabilitated? And did he deserve the charges he faced? These are difficult questions with no easy answers. The Walls case serves as a stark reminder of the long-lasting consequences of abuse and the urgent need for prevention, intervention, and support for victims. The Jack Walls case is a disturbing example of how power and influence can be used to exploit and abuse vulnerable individuals. It is a story that demands our attention and compels us to take action. We must work to create a society where children are safe, where abuse is not tolerated, and where perpetrators are held accountable for their crimes. If you are moved by this story and want to help bring more cases like this to light, take action. Like this video, subscribe to our channel Into the Crime Depths for more in-depth investigations, and share this story with your friends and family. Together, we can raise awareness, support victims, and prevent future tragedies. Let us stand together against the shadows of deceit and fight for a brighter, safer future for all children.